You're listening to the N2K Space Network.
Ever wished you could rebuild your network from scratch to make it more secure, scalable, and simple? Meet Meter, the company reimagining enterprise networking from the ground up. Meter builds full-stack, zero-trust networks, including hardware, firmware, and software, all designed to work seamlessly together. The result? Fast, reliable, and secure connectivity without the constant patching, vendor juggling, or hidden costs. From wired and wireless to routing, switching, firewalls, DNS security, and VPN, every layer is integrated and continuously protected in one unified platform. And since it's delivered as one predictable monthly service, you skip the heavy capital costs and endless upgrade cycles. Meter even buys back your old infrastructure to make switching effortless. Transform complexity into simplicity and give your team time to focus on what really matters, helping your business and customers thrive. Learn more and book your demo at meter.com/cyberwire. That's METER.com/cyberwire.
Today is January 8th, 2026. I'm Maria Varmazis, and this is T-Minus.
T-minus 20 seconds to LOS T-Drift. Go for deploy. Roger, roll. 5.
Schmidt Sciences have announced an initiative to build a space telescope larger than Hubble and fund the construction of 3 ground-based observatories.
4.
The China Manned Space Agency released its annual report detailing the progress of China's space station scientific research and applications.
3.
PowerBank and Smart AI's Genesis 1 satellite is confirmed to be operating an artificial intelligence model directly in orbit.
2.
Karman Space and Defense has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Seemann Composites and MSC.
1.
NASA says it is considering the possibility of an earlier end to Crew 11's mission due to a medical situation on board the International Space Station. Later in today's show, I will be joined by John Serafini, the CEO of HawkEye 360. HawkEye 360 announced a new acquisition just before the holiday period last year and closed a Series E funding round. Want to find out more about all that? Stick around after today's intelligence briefing. Happy Thursday, everyone. We're kicking off the show with unfortunate news from the International Space Station. Today was scheduled to be the first spacewalk of 2026. 2 members of the Expedition 74 crew were due to exit the International Space Station for power upgrade work, but news was released last night that due to a medical condition, that spacewalk is now postponed. Station Commander Mike Finke and Flight Engineer Zena Cardman were the 2 astronauts named to be conducting the EVA. It's unclear which of the 2 is dealing with the medical situation, as it has been called, or what the situation might be. NASA has now gone one step further to raise alarms by releasing a statement which says, "We are actively evaluating all options, including the possibility of an earlier end to Crew 11's mission." Yes, it is indeed one thing to get sick at your desk job and just take a day off or 2 to recover, but it is quite another concern when you are 250 miles above the Earth's surface, traveling 17,500 miles per hour. NASA went on to say, "These are the situations NASA and our partners train for and prepare to execute safely. We will provide further updates within the next 24 hours. So do stay tuned, folks, and keep that astronaut in your thoughts. And our thoughts and best wishes go out to the crew involved. Karman Space and Defense has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Seemann Composites and MSC, who are leaders in specialty maritime defense technologies. Seemann and MSC's core technologies for submarines and related amphibious platforms include sonar, acoustic and signal mitigation solutions, subsea and surface propulsion systems, and missile and amphibious strategic launch products. The transaction is subject to customary closing conditions and regulatory approvals, with Karman providing a total consideration of $220 million, consisting of $210 million in cash and approximately $10 million in Karman common shares. Karman says the acquisition will align with their strategy to deliver advanced systems for next-generation propulsion and shielding applications, serving the country's highest priority national security interests from deep sea to deep space. Let's head on over to Canada for our next story. PowerBank and Smartlink AI have updated the progress of their satellite, which launched in early December. The companies say that the satellite has been recorded as operating and producing solar power as it moves around our Earth. The Genesis 1 satellite launched on December 10th, 2025, and is confirmed by Smartlink AI to also be operating an artificial intelligence model directly in orbit. The companies say that this milestone provides an initial proof point for Orbit AI's approach to on-orbit computing. Genesis 1 also represents the first operational element of Orbit AI's planned satellite network, serving as an early validation step ahead of future launches and broader expansion. Genesis 1 is the first operational node of a planned network. Smartlink AI is targeting a second satellite launch in Q1 2026, with additional launches planned thereafter as the network continues to expand. PowerBank expects to continue as a partner throughout the expansion phases of the Orbital AI project, with PowerBank's solar energy and thermal control contributions expected to become increasingly significant as satellite payloads scale to accommodate higher computational loads and more sophisticated AI inference capabilities. We did predict in our end-of-year roundup that data centers in space were going to be the next hot thing of 2026, didn't we? Yeah, we did. The China Manned Space Agency released its annual report detailing the progress of China's space station, scientific research, and applications. The report covers China's developments in space science, technologies, and applications, showcasing 33 scientific research and application achievements selected from a variety of completed in-orbit experiments, scientific samples returned to Earth, and what they are calling scientific breakthroughs. Chinese media is reporting that in 2025 alone, 86 new scientific and application projects were added aboard the Tiangong space station, with 1,179 kilos of scientific materials sent into space and around 105 kilos of space science samples returned to Earth. The data collected from these projects exceeded 150 terabytes, and the report also highlighted that in 2025, more than 230 high-level papers were published in scientific journals from the research performed on Tiangong, and over 70 patents were granted. That is a good amount of science, my friends. And watch out, Hubble and Webb. There is a new space telescope potentially on the horizon. Watch your back too, Roman, I'm just saying. Schmidt Sciences have announced an initiative to build a space telescope larger than Hubble and fund the construction of 3 ground-based observatories. Schmidt Sciences is an organization funded by former Google CEO Eric Schmidt and his wife Wendy Schmidt, so understandably the 4 facilities are called the Eric and Wendy Schmidt Observatory System. They will cover optical imaging, spectroscopy, and radio astronomy. They are aiming to have all 4 facilities operational and doing science by 2029, and some maybe even earlier. And the big kicker, once these facilities are built, they will consider building more. So yay for commercial companies continuing the good work of space observation during a time that the U.S. Space Agency is facing cuts to its research budget. May many others follow in this example. And that concludes today's top 5 stories in our intel briefing for you, but there's always more going on in the space industry. For more on that, N2K senior producer Alice Carruth joins us now with a look at all the other stories that we're watching today.
Thanks, Maria. We've included one additional link today in the selected reading section of our show notes, along with all the original sources of all the other stories mentioned throughout the episode. Stellant Systems, a manufacturer of radio frequency and microwave amplification products, is set to be acquired by Transdigm Group for $960 million in cash. Those links are also included on our website, space.n2k.com.
Hello there, T-Minus listeners. Pretty soon, we will be attending Commercial Space Week in Orlando, Florida. And there will be lots of moments from it that we're going to want to share with you that just can't make it into the Daily Show. But we do post them on Instagram. We are at T-Daily if you'd like to see some exclusive videos there, as well as some behind-the-scenes moments from the show floor. Hope to see you there.
Most environments trust far more than they should, and attackers know it. ThreatLocker solves that by enforcing default deny at the point of execution. With ThreatLocker Allow listing, you stop unknown executables cold. With ring fencing, you control how trusted applications behave. And with ThreatLocker DAC, Defense Against Configurations, you get real assurance that your environment is free of misconfigurations and clear visibility into whether you meet compliance standards. ThreatLocker is the simplest way to enforce zero-trust principles without the operational pain. It's powerful protection that gives CISOs real visibility, real control, and real peace of mind. ThreatLocker makes zero-trust attainable, even for small security teams. See why thousands of organizations choose ThreatLocker to minimize alert fatigue, stop ransomware at the source, and regain control over their environments. Schedule your demo at threatlocker.com/N2K today.
Just before the holidays, I had the pleasure of catching up with John Serafini, the CEO of HawkEye 360. I'll let John introduce himself and the company.
I'm John Serafini. I'm the founder and CEO of a company named HawkEye 360. It's about a decade old. We started in 2015 timeframe. We just hit 10 years. The company performs on-orbit commercial signals intelligence. We have a constellation of 30-plus satellites that very uniquely fly in clusters of 3. So think one satellite out front, a second satellite behind a couple hundred kilometers. You're talking about 550 or so kilometers in low Earth orbit. And then a third satellite that oscillates back and forth between the two in a cross-track maneuver. And that satellite architecture allows us to geolocate signals. Basically, any signal emitting on the face of the Earth or in the air or in space above a watt in power, generally between 30 megahertz and 18 gigahertz, we can detect it, we can process it, we can geolocate it, we can analyze it, and we can convert that into actionable intelligence for our customers. And our customers are principally governments, defense, intelligence, national security, some humanitarian and sustainability applications as well. But we're really built from the bottom up to support government users. As for myself, I've been a national security-oriented venture capitalist and small company operator for about 20 years. Previously, I was a U.S. Army infantry officer and a proud graduate of the United States Military Academy.
Well, it's so wonderful to speak with you and meet you, John. HawkEye 360 is such an incredible company, and you all have just closed some fantastic news, both completing the acquisition of Innovative Signal Analysis and also closing a Series E. Congratulations. I'm wondering if you can walk me through both these pieces of news.
Yeah, thank you so much. Enormous value created when we closed those deals, and they represent, in some cases, 2 years worth of work. We've long been admirers of ISA. It's a wonderful company that for 30 years has been supporting the U.S. defense customer base in providing the very best processing of certain types of space-based RF data and converting that into intelligence products for the U.S. government. So it's a company with an exquisite set of technologies in processing that we're very excited to be able to acquire. Very infrequently do you see an acquisition occur that's so perfectly fit between two companies, right? We have our own commercial constellation of satellites that produces RF data. We have our own commercial platform for processing and analyzing that data. And ISA is truly the best in the world at doing the processing off of certain other types of data that when fused together, it makes our own processing capabilities that much better for our customers, both the U.S. government and now international. We'll be able to better classify different signals, be able to automate the detection of new signal of interest waveforms, and be able to perform geolocation at even better rates than previously was available. So from a strategic fit, this is a home run. Now, to finance it, because a great company like ISA is not cheap, we need to go off and raise some capital, recognizing that we're further along in our development and that the debt markets are available to us. We wanted to kind of split the cost between debt and equity. And so we were able to raise a Series E round from a phenomenal new investor named Center 15, and then couple them with a fellow co-lead in Night Dragon, who's been a great investor for us for the past 5 years. And they co-led the Series E round together along with some other investors. With that, we then paired a significant amount of debt from excellent lenders, SVB and Hercules. So those organizations coming together provide the capital in part for us to acquire the company, and off we go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that fantastic context. And I'm wondering, just going back to the acquisition of ISA before we'll get into sort of the funding side of things, both are fascinating threads. I'd love if you could help me understand the importance of understanding complex RF activity. This seems to dovetail really well with the acquisition of ISA and also what HawkEye 360 has been doing. The environment is ever noisier, and you all are very well known for helping people understand and cut through that noise. So can you help me understand that a bit?
Yeah, so I mean, think of basically two value chains. On the commercial side, you've got the paradigm of HawkEye putting satellites into space. We own 30 plus satellites in space that generate an enormous amount of RF data. It's all commercial. It's all privately owned by HawkEye. And then below that in the value chain is HawkEye doing all of that processing and analyzing that data, converting it into actionable intelligence products. And we have a suite of different offerings from raw IQ data all the way to finished intelligence products for certain domains that we offer to customers. That's one value chain. On the second, think about the U.S. government paradigm, where the U.S. government spends a significant amount of money with traditional defense industrial base entities like Northrop, Lockheed, Raytheon, Boeing, et cetera, to build certain types of sensors. Those sensors generate data, and that data gets analyzed and processed by companies. The very best of those companies, in our mindset, is this company ISA. So you have a paradigm now of where HawkEye dominates the commercial value chain, not just collection, but processing. It now has a really important position within the U.S. government chain for signals intelligence, where we're now doing the processing work for certain U.S. government customers. I think that collectively matching those two together enables us to really unlock a lot of value for our customers.
And I'm wondering about that processing, what the 2-year, 5-year, the look ahead for that looks like in terms of capabilities, because again, the potential there is huge. And I imagine you all are busy planning around that too.
Yeah. So one of the reasons for the acquisition, Maria, was this is shovel ready. The technologies can be integrated together. They're very nicely overlapping, and we can start generating incremental value for our customers, both the U.S. government and international, right off the bat. I mean, there's a little bit of time of technical development work that's got to be invested, but we've done a lot of work to analyze the value of their processing and how well it fits with our RF data to feel extremely confident that this is going to be a 1 + 1 = a lot more than 2 outcome for the company. So great acquisition for both ISA and for HawkEye, and hopefully as well for our customers.
Thank you for that. And I'd love to just switch a little bit to sort of the investment side of things. Was very interested, and I know Night Dragon's been a big supporter of HawkEye 360 for quite some time. If you could tell me about a little bit about the investors that were part of this round, including Night Dragon, I'd love to hear about that.
Sure. Well, I can't ask for a better set of investors than we have in the Series E round. Night Dragon led our Series C round. This is Dave DeWalt and and Ken Gonzalez, and they've been fantastic members of our cap table, and in both cases have been a wonderful provider of corporate governance on our board. I've been blessed to have Night Dragon on our cap table, and I wish for all of my defense tech peer companies for them to have investors as great as Night Dragon. So that's thing one. Thing two is I'm exceptionally pleased to welcome Center 15 to our cap table. Ian Weiner is the lead here at Center 15. He's been investing in fantastic defense technology companies for many years, extremely thoughtful and very well known on Wall Street, given his background there, and the breadth of his limited partners is very significant and will be very helpful to HawkEye as we grow further. So exceptionally pleased to have Ian involved with HawkEye as well as the co-lead at Center 15. So those two together, plus our fantastic LPs who have been investing in HawkEye since the beginning, such as Shield Capital and others, we're very fortunate to have them participating so meaningfully in this Series E round.
And I'm curious, something that was mentioned in the release about the Series E was about how the acquisition, actually, I should mention, with ISA, the big differentiator here seems to be on improving signal processing, as you've mentioned several times, as opposed to just increasing satellite capacity. Can you talk a bit about that differentiation? Because it is an interesting angle, and we often hear more about just like more satellite capacity. And this seems to be about also getting a lot smarter, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, ultimately, they're not mutually exclusive. We need to build lots of collection capacity and lots of new sensors in space, as well as other domains, right? Like, we want to dominate from geo all the way down to the ground. We want to be the best in the world at collecting lots of different types of RF data and fusing it all together and doing the processing and the analysis. And so that will include, over time, I would believe, sensors terrestrially, sensors aerially, sensors in space, and being able to operate those at cost-effective means. I mean, we don't want to invest a significant amount of capital for stuff that's not unique and not cost-efficient. And so we're very thoughtful about the sensors that we build, and we have a robust plan for building out our architecture over the next couple of years. But that's definitively on its own pathway, and that architecture has been well known for us for a while, and we're executing against our playbook to do that. At the same time, there's two sides of this coin. There's the RF data and that best-in-class RF raw data that we collect with these sensors, and there's what we can do with it. Like, how do you convert that into something that's understood and valuable to customers? I mean, RF data is it's not understandable by a typical human unless you analyze it through the certain processing tools that we have available to us. It's not like an image where you can take a picture from space and look at, and you're like, okay, there's 15 cars in that parking lot. I understand that intuitively. If I deliver to you raw IQ data from space, you're looking at a bunch of weird stuff. It's not until you actually do the processing and the analysis that you can start to extract intelligence about what might be occurring, which is always related to human activity, right? Because a lake doesn't naturally emit RF. A bear doesn't key a mic. It comes when you see RF activity, you know it's from a human or some set of humans or some set of vehicles or other apparatus that's tied to human activity. And if you look at it long enough, as you know, you start to understand human activities, and you can start to extract information about or assess information about intentions, which is really the holy grail here, is when you've developed an exquisite set of sensors and you compare that to really great processing capabilities. The faster you can get access to that data and the faster the revisit rate, and then be the very best at geolocating those emitters and converting that into actionable intelligence. That's the basis of an extremely high quality, competitive, long-term going concern for signals intelligence, which is our goal.
And you've mentioned in our conversation a lot of things that I think would be considered force multipliers, and I'm curious what other things you're considering or thinking about for the future that are force multipliers like that.
Sure. So couple of items. I mean, obviously, getting the revisit rate down is an important metric. So the more satellites you have overhead, depending upon what orbits they're in, the faster you can be over any given spot on Earth, right? So that you can increase the tactical relevance of that data. Secondly, how quickly can you get the data down to the ground, right? You can address that through the ground station densifications. You can address that through onboard processing. You can address that through crosslinks and being able to use mesh relay networks to move that data down to the warfighter, the intelligence analyst that much faster. Those are two key levers that we're constantly pushing on. If you were to unpack our long-term vision for our architecture, you see we're constantly looking to optimize the revisit rate, and we're constantly looking for ways in which to get that data down to the ground faster. So that's on the space-based part, or the sensor part, because we are going to look at other sensor types. But at the same time, the ability to process that data and convert it into the actionable intelligence using artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, that's extremely valuable to us. And that comes to the third lever, which is the amazing people that I get a chance to work with. And we have today now 400 individuals working within HawkEye and ISA together combined. These are some of the world's experts in signals intelligence who just live to access RF data and convert it and to process it. And so we've been able to pull together 400 of these exceptional, thoughtful individuals, and we look forward to working with all of them into the future.
We'll be right back.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew, too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Welcome back. Some cold water today on the idea that the Jovian moon Europa could maybe have some life under its icy shell. This fascinating moon, a little smaller than our own, is considered one of our best bets for finding life elsewhere in our solar system, so much so that in 2024, NASA launched the Europa Clipper mission to investigate those chances. And there was a new study published this week in the journal Nature Communications that took a closer look at Europa's ocean bottom, where life might actually be on this moon. And the study modeled the tectonic and volcanic activity there. According to the study, they believe that Europa's seafloor is super solid and probably doesn't have any major landforms, ridges, or troughs, any kind of nook or cranny or fault line where any kind of underwater volcanic activity might occur. And a super solid seafloor might sound like a good thing, but for the potential formation of life, unfortunately, it is not. Why? Well, planetary scientist Paul Byrne of Washington University in St. Louis, who is the lead author of this study, explains it this way. And he says this: on Earth, tectonic activity such as fracturing and faulting exposes fresh rock to the environment where chemical reactions, principally involving water, generate chemicals such as methane that microbial life can use. In other words, our more fragile and active seafloor created more opportunities for the right chemical reactions to occur and, eventually, for microbial life to sustain itself and flourish. But according to this study, it seems like Europa is too far from Jupiter for the planet's gravitational pull to deform, crack, nook and cranny-ify Europa's ocean floor. Well, we'll find out much more about Europa and potentially validate this study pretty soon in any case, as the NASA Europa Clipper mission is currently en route to that moon and is expected to arrive for its series of flybys in 2031. And that is T-Minus, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing space industry. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to space@n2k.com. We're proud that N2K Cyberwire is part of the daily routine of the most influential leaders and operators in the public and private sector. from the Fortune 500 to many of the world's preeminent intelligence and law enforcement agencies. N2K helps space and cybersecurity professionals grow, learn, and stay informed. As the nexus for discovery and connection, we bring you the people, the technology, and the ideas shaping the future of secure innovation. Learn how at n2k.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our producer is Liz Stokes. We are mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester, with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I am your host, Maria Varmazes. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
T-minus.
If you only attend one cybersecurity conference this year, make it RSAC 2026. It's happening March 23rd through the 26th in San Francisco, bringing together the global security community for 4 days of expert insights, hands-on learning, and real innovation. I'll say this plainly, I never miss this conference. The ideas and conversations stay with me all year. Join thousands of practitioners and leaders tackling today's toughest challenges and shaping what comes next. Register today at rsaconference.com/cyberwire26. I'll see you in San Francisco.